That's right! Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers! Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And tonight we're talking the season 2 finale of Invincible. I thought you were stronger. Oh, yeah, that's right. So, folks, I've been gone for the past few episodes. It's just scheduling hasn't worked out for me to come on, but I came on for the finale because how could I refuse? This season is really interesting. I feel like it's definitely more of a mixed bag than the first season, but man, it has some high highs. This episode is definitely one of those high highs. I mean, this episode is definitely more introspective than the season 1 finale, which season 1 finale, obviously kind of iconic at this point. But man, honestly, Dragon, I feel like the introspective quality to this episode is what makes it as good as it is. So we'll break that all down. I know that you're into the comics, so I'm really excited to get your perspective on this from the comics because I know that this is like a big moment. Like specifically the title line in this episode is a big like turning point, shifting tides kind of moment for the comics. So yeah, like I said, I think this episode really, really stuck the landing with the season. Did some great stuff. Excited to break it down. What do you think, Dragon?
Yeah, so this just harrowing, strong finale paid off the aftermath and contemplative theme of the season perfectly. I felt. I mean, I think we really with the Angstrom Levy stuff, I think we hit it just right. And I love that it was building in the background, and it was like one of those things where you forgot it just long enough for it to come back and really tie things together nicely. And like the back half of 2 does feel like because again, like the first half is very directly Mark in relation to his father, and the back half again we front load the back half with okay, just Mark doing stuff, but again when we get to 7 and leading into the finale, it's very much like kind of the ethical line that Mark is the tightrope walk that Mark's walking, that he has walked and we have set up at the top of 2. So I think everything just paid off tremendously well, and this finale, as it should, is in the shadow and coupled with the finale of 1. I think very strongly, very well. I don't think necessarily the last bit of the season. It's fine. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's very much like we do all the big stuff like pretty much in like I don't want to say like the first, maybe it is the first 15 minutes. I'm not sure, but it's like it's really like it's like the first like third of the episode is pretty much okay. Here's the huge stuff.
It's basically the first act.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's roughly the first act. I'm trying to remember, like all these stupid commercials keep throwing me off, but I want to say the way
Oh man.
essentially the way it works, if memory serves, and I rewatched it today, was like the first, like everything, all the big stuff happens pretty much before the first commercial. So that's essentially your 3-act structure. That's your act 1. So I believe
Right.
that's, yeah. But yeah, so the fact that we do that, and just by proxy of that, as Invincible kind of had in the first season, season 1 ended with, okay, and here's a tease of like our potential plot lines if we were to come back for more. And we paid off the most part, we paid off a lot of those. Not Titan. Titan, we did not really pay off. There's only so much room in 8 episodes, and we even called that out in 7. That animation takes a long time. We got to cut corners.
Oh God, I honestly wish I could have come on for 7
I know.
because I love that gag, dude.
Yeah, we wanted you. We really wanted your take on a lot of things, particularly, the Rex explode stuff. But yeah.
Oh, I'll get into that with this because I will say just off the top, this season, big improvement for Rex Explode. Rex Explode is definitely like the most improved character from this season to last season. Yeah, I really liked his arc this time around.
So yeah, I guess just overall, before we get into it again, just this season has been a big, a big character development, character growth season, and it hasn't been like we carved out kind of the monolithic kind of premise and kind of heart of the show with the whole father son, kind of schism that happens there, with the whole like basically the father-son story that is, of course, the crux of Invincible, what the whole deal is there, as well as just like what the world feels like. So it sets a tone, it sets like what the show is, and now we're kind of like, where do we go with these characters now that our inciting incident has passed, and like where does this world go to next? So yeah.
Right.
I was very satisfied with it, even if the ending is very much it's a quiet ending, but again, a quiet ending before, let's just say, Tiki, if 3 goes the way I think it's gonna go, 3 is gonna be like jaw dropping. Like from the outset, jaw, like the way Kirkman's hyping it up, he's saying like he's said, I don't know if you've heard this, Kirkman has said season 3, every episode will feel like a season finale.
Oh my God, Jesus
Which
Christ.
I can't even fathom. Like, dear God, 8 finales. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I know the big event of season 3 that's going to happen, like that's your finale, but I don't know, how do we talk? God. Okay. Now we have comments.
Yeah. So Kogia says it's interesting how Invincible's new season ended around the same time as Curb. Wonder if the two shows were trying to. I very much doubt that.
I don't think. Well, mine would be more HBO's called than Larry David's called. I don't think Larry David's. You know what? I'm not going to let Invincible, steal our thunder here. We've been on for 12 seasons. We've been on for 12 seasons. We were the experimental show. I think we have more priority than Invincible. It's going to get more seasons. It's going to take forever. I've been there. I've taken my time. They can wait. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we also have Little Blue saying he's going from one stream to another tonight. Yeah, double duty tonight, indeed. I'm not usually available Sundays, but this week I was, so there you go. All right. Okay, so Dragon, do you want to just start with the Levy stuff?
I mean, real quick, just to get it in there. Let's talk about our title gag.
Oh yeah, sure.
So we have as per usual, we have the whole Invincible kind of gag. We just have this. It's just interesting. Like the end of last episode was tremendous. Not don't run the post credit scene was great too, but I'm just saying the ending of last episode with the whole thing of think Mark's not having a good go of it. A lot of things have gone wrong. He and Amber have broken up, and he gets a call oh, mom's calling, and it's Angstrom Levy. It's oh my God. And again, especially if you're vaguely familiar with the comics, this is going to be a big encounter. Mm-hmm. That's where we ended. That's where we ended last episode. So the fact that we're opening this episode really after the whole setup with Nolan is that okay? Just just kind of lighthearted, just kind of a guy jogging, trying to get in shape, and in the background, big shit. Again, we're getting the comedy out of the way before all the severity is about to happen. Boy, is it going to be severe.
So right off the bat, Dragon, I want to shout out the voice acting in this episode from Sterling K. Brown, Sandra Oh, and Stephen Yeun was just next level. Just fucking next level.
It was a very strong trifecta. Very much radio play, as you
and also, however the hell they got the baby. I mean, just Jesus Christ, Oliver's screams in this episode, Dragon. Some of the most haunting, baby crying moments that I have ever experienced in any media.
Imagine Kirkman or whoever the VO director is just in the booth, basically a baby with headphones on. Okay, listen, you got to be upset now. Okay?
Oh God.
Okay, just imagine a man with a big scary brain. He's about to throw you around. It's going to be traumatizing, but the audience is going to love it. Okay, go. You're upset. You're purple. Just factor. It doesn't really matter, but just imagine you're purple while we're at it.
Oh man. So yeah, and I love how it's really interesting how this episode it's almost kind of like a dichotomy where it's both the most super personal, intimate fight that you could possibly have, and literally a fight throughout the entire multiverse.
On one hand, intimate, personal, very, very intimate thing, like you said. On the other hand, it's everything you wanted. That's Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Dude, for real, man. The more I think about Multiverse of Madness, it's was the dimension that we end up in for most of that movie the most creative that we could get with that movie and the concept? Seriously, come on.
Tiki, they had pizza bowls though.
I know they had pizza bowls. I don't know, but I love how the dinosaur world that they stumble into. I'm not like originating this thought. I just want to throw that out there because plagiarism on YouTube is like a big deal. I heard someone else say this. I'm not sure who. I don't remember, but it's basically like the Land Before Time. You know what I mean? That's really what it felt like.
Well, I was thinking less Land Before Time. I was thinking more just like I love that there's like an intellectual conversation amongst these dinosaurs where it's not just like random action scenes. We have one dinosaur that wants to eat them, and the other two are saying, no, we can't eat him. He can think, which kind of paints a picture of the ideology of this whole world in just like less than a minute, which I love.
Right.
Just the whole thing of like, no, he can think. Therefore, like our whole civilization here is like, we have I think the presumption, mind you, I love that it's ambiguous. Like my presumption is that okay, they've evolved to a place where they can now speak, and I know that they've looked down the other life forms because of that. And it's like if he can speak, if he can talk, we can't eat it because it's like us.
Yeah.
It's like that's how the food chain works in this dinosaur universe. Okay, anyways, Angstrom Levy as Sterling K. Brown, stirring performance.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing that always amused me. I kind of brought this up at the end of the last episode. It's just very Curb Your Enthusiasm point. It just kind of cracks me up that Angstrom Levy, as he very definitively says in this episode. Sorry, Angstrom Levy. It just amuses me that he dresses up for this occasion. That he went and now, mind you, in the comic he is wearing this outfit, but however, he's wearing kind of like a raggedy jacket over top of this nice suit. But here, again, with the adaptation here. No, just let him wear the nice suit. That's essentially what the logic was here. Like, don't give him like the raggedy coat. Just he's dressed up for the event. But it's like, why would he dress up for the event though?
Right.
I mean, he's gonna be getting to a fight anyway. Why is he's going out of his way to like a multi-armed tailor in the
It's the ceremony of it all, Dragon.
Anyways, I just love the absurd. Anyway, so again, Sterling K. Brown, he's utterly chilling here, and this is what's great about it. This has been so well set up in the background that his whole plan. We saw the inkling of this finale in one of the build-up, like post-credit scenes, where he visited the dimension where Invincible was captured by Lady Cecil and Lady Donald.
Oh, right.
Which you gotta wonder if Lady Donald had also died. But the point being, Lady Cecil and Donald, presumably feminized, Earth, I guess. Point being, he was captured. And basically, Angstrom Levy was asking him like, tell me how this happened. I'll let you go. Of course, they didn't really let him go. He basically confessed, like, they tired us out. They tired me and my dad out over time, and that's how they got the drop on us. So that's basically Angstrom's whole plan here is like, I'm going to tire him out all this multiverse stuff. Which again is kind of a thing I've seen done by the greats, like Kingpin versus the Punisher in Daredevil season 2. He puts the Punisher, 7 minutes in heaven. The Punisher is like, he's got a lot of fight taken at him, but he's still putting up a fight. Kingpin's that's only when Kingpin's finally going to go, hand to hand with him,
Sure.
After he knows he can't possibly beat him. Okay. But, so villain, classic Marvel thing. The villain is absolutely convinced he's right. And this is where things get really interesting, okay? This guy is not entirely wrong. He's wrong in this universe, but he doesn't know that because his brain has been shell gamed within itself. He doesn't know that he's actually the good Angstrom. He doesn't know that he's like the one non-traumatized Angstrom. When in reality, all the other multiverses, they were the ones with the invincible grudge.
Right.
So he's coming from a place that we later on in the episode show he is absolutely justified in how he's feeling because he's lost a lot at the hands of Invincible. So you empathize with him, you understand where he's coming from, but he's completely in the wrong with what he's doing to this Invincible and this universe.
But I gotta say though, that montage of him Stephen Yeun is so next level where there is some seriously like messed up dark shit that we see. through that montage of Invincible doing like these, these war crimes, essentially. I mean,
my favorite horrible thing in that montage, because it's just so twisted to me, especially if you really think about it. He has everyone like lined up and sitting on.
I know,
walking down
that
there,
really
just
got to me, honestly.
And here's okay. I wonder if you tell me if you thought about this. Okay, they don't show it, but the implication is that as he's going down that line of people, and he's like lopping the heads off like karate chops in very Nazi in a very Nazi-esque way, as he's making his way down there. Now, for Angstrom to have this memory, that implies that Angstrom was like spared to live with the memory of that.
Oh God, right.
So that's the thing. I mean, just for that to work. Otherwise, if Angstrom died, it wouldn't necessarily know that happened in that universe. So that Angstrom survived, but like either by Invincible flew off and got bored, or he just like, nah, you can live with it. And he just walks out. It's possible, It's just that's horrifying. That's the implication.
And then just the whole thing of like just how casually he's like, I tell you what, I'll kill him fast. Like just how casually he does that,
The thing when killing is now again so much thought went into Act 1 of this episode. I'm just floored by it. Just the fact that the way he grabs the sun, the way Invincible grabs the sun's neck before he kills him, of course, mirrors again per all the multiverses like scrambled in the guy's brain, is why he's threatening to break Debbie's neck like that. That's where he got the idea from.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
And again, it's like that's visually like the struggle there where again Angstrom is like this is revenge and it's justified revenge, just not this against the wrong one. So and also my favorite detail was like in that was like the whole Sterling K. Brown so heartbreakingly, I love how he's searching for the words. It's like, Dad, chainsaw scares. Son, tell Chainsaw. Just the way he's like, says, tell Chainsaw the fox. Again, it's kind of, for a moment, it's kind of funny, but also like a father just doing his best in a desperate situation. And again, him promising that it's all going to be okay and lying to the boy, much like Debbie lied to Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
And he called her out on it. Like, how can you lie to your child like that? Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right.
Oh, Pi has an interesting point. I missed this. Oh man, now I want to go back and like freeze frame it because it sounds like Debbie might have been in that lineup of all the decapitated heads.
Really?
That's according to Pi.
Yeah, that is a good pull if that's true. Damn.
Now that's unless it was basically like a delayed subtitle. At the start of that, you just heard like Debbie crying from the previous scene. Transit. Unless that happens, so we have to go. Someone has to go back and find that out. But Anyway, but yeah, so there's a lot going on there. But I love again, like the last episode with Anissa, Invincible is in a situation, at least initially, let's say for this episode, he can't punch his way out of.
Right, yeah.
Initially, he finds a way. But yeah, so he's in a situation he can't punch his way out of because, I love that he is trying to reason with the guy. We see the humanity at play here, and we have kind of a parody of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Electro thing. The whole, the whole, you really don't remember who I am, do you?
You know what, though? That it is a good parody of the Electro thing, but I will say that one line, that one exchange, I think really puts into context and justifies how little time we actually spend with this guy throughout the season. Because I think we as an audience are supposed to be just as blindsided by how brutal he is as Mark is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where we establish him and he's kind of in the background. But like you said at the beginning of this, we basically forget about him.
Yep. And again, we know it's just the minimum amount of information that we need on this guy to know everything we need to know without having it hammered over. He's coming. He's bigger.
Exactly.
He's better, right. He's brainier. But yeah, so this is all this is great. And again, just right from the get-go, just the brutality of this thing here, where he's you feel every hit on Debbie, where Debbie is like, she's so vulnerable in this scene where, she gets knocked around, like Oliver's little head hitting the floor and her being thrown against that chair.
Low-key, I thought she was fucking done.
Yeah?
I thought they were going to kill her off. Low-key.
You did?
I really did.
Here's an interesting thing in the adaptation, if I remember correctly. So last episode in the comic, when Anissa shows up and she basically threatens somebody to get Mark to show up. Originally, it was Debbie. He's out to lunch with Mom in broad daylight. Wasn't a date with Amber, because again, Amber was like basically Amber when the thing from the first season happened, she didn't come back at the end. That's how it went in the comic. But so I think it was a really smart choice. That okay, we don't want to double down on Debbie in peril, so we're going to save it for like the iconic scene in the comic where she is in peril, where Ancient Levy does go to the house, he holds them all hostage, and there's basically this happens.
Right, for sure.
It was a good call. It's again like Kirkman is really smart. I never want to.
Here's the thing with Kirkman adaptations, like The Walking Dead was honestly infamous for killing off characters that lived way longer in the comic, in the show. And then also keeping certain characters alive that were killed off very quickly into the comics. Like they really did a lot with twisting that up in The Walking Dead.
I mean, another thing too is like in the show versus the comic, Guardians, they lived a lot longer than they did in the comic. Where the Guardians, they were killed like more, or like I guess more in the middle of things, and then we didn't reveal that was Nolan until like the end of like that issue, I guess.
I mean, it just makes for a hell of a first episode, though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like doing that.
Right
like doing that practically is like the post credit scene. I forget if it actually was I think it was like literally the post credit scene.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, so that's tremendous. So, but yeah, I just never want to undersell that. Having the writer do the adaptation is a very valuable thing to have. We've always cited the example Under the Red Hood, where we got the writer of the comic who's not forced to use the whole Superboy Prime punch to revive Jason Todd to the Lazarus Pit. Like it's a writer getting a chance to reevaluate his work and kind of do it better, ideally, which is I think what we're having here with Kirkman.
I mean, most recently we saw that with The Last of Us, where I wouldn't necessarily say that was better than the game by any means.
But it's a fair shot at it. It's like, okay, how can we do this differently, make it good? Still, without
honestly, with The Last of Us, I kind of wish that they would have done more things differently, because my issue with that show is that when it first started, they were doing some really interesting adaptation things, and then by the end of it, it was kind of just like, yep. That's certainly how it went down in the game, except less dramatic. I'm not in the character's perspective.
Yeah, you have like the Scott Pilgrim thing where you adapt.
Scott Pilgrim's that is a wild adaptation, man. That is one of the most unique cases of an adaptation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, never underestimate the value of like bringing the original guy back to like reinterpret or like re-examine his work when you can. Okay. So anyway, so again, there's Debbie's being threatened here. Again, Mark's there's also kind of a big theme of the season here where Mark's humanity has been in question from the Viltrumites about even from the season 1, like during the big battle with his father. Again, Nolan calling out like the problem of his humanity and everything. Where Mark's humanity, while valuable ultimately, and I would still attest, is it's a very key thing for him. We really put it to the test this episode where he's in a situation that he can't punch his way out of. And because of this, if he were a pure Viltrumite, he would have just like, oh, well, poor Debbie. And just like, basically it would have been a tactical thing of like, okay, he's not going to snap the baby's neck. Poor Debbie, but I'll save my offspring who will carry on the Viltrum, bloodline essentially and kill this guy. He's like, I'll do that. And, it's a necessary loss. The way he tactically probably would have looked at it horrifically, tactically and callously. But again, Mark's humanity, it's basically this thing where, again, his dedication, his mindfulness of not being his father will bring him a lot of pain and a lot of struggle for the Grayson family, which is what happens here. They do get put through the ringer this episode because of Mark's humanity. So it's a way of looking at it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to get into the moment?
Well, you mean the multiverse portals?
Yeah, and then leading up to,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously. I'm just saying people are definitely going to want to talk about the whole because of the cameos in the multiverse portal.
Of course. Although I'm not going to lie, Dragon, I honestly, I thought the cameos were... And I realized that with the Spider-Man one, there is a whole tie to the comics where he did, and the Josh Keaton of it all. I totally get that. The thing is, felt a little bit surface level, like, hey, look, he's interacting with Batman, and I don't know, man. It's the one part of the episode that kind of felt like a little bit too fan servicey, if that makes sense.
Yes, but it was like a very unique thing. Just the fact that Invincible is able to actually, because they worked in these cameos in the, as you know, they worked in these cameos in the comic. I think it was I'm blanking on.
Wasn't the Spider-Man one like a full issue?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So
Yeah.
Batman was a cameo. I believe we also had one with Superman, but I know for a fact the Batman cameo was during this montage in the comic. We got a little bit. We saw like a fist. We saw the fist, the glove, and the cape. That's what we saw in the comic. But he has crossed over with Spider-Man. I can't recall if it was a full issue or if we basically just did this scene, but we actually had a full Spider-Man Doc Ock.
No, I'm pretty. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure from what I saw, it was a full, if not like a full issue, at least like a storyline within an issue, not just a standalone scene.
Well, all I'm saying is they definitely did like legitimately cross over. So this is a very unique thing. Invincible has crossed over with both DC and Marvel, which is like huge. It's like he's very much like the Roger Rabbit in this case. He's
sure. Yeah.
It's a very rare thing. So the fact that they
and Spider-Man just doing the parachute thing.
Yeah, but it's interesting though. Again, it feels like just looking at it here, DC was a lot more accommodating than Disney.
Yeah,
the fact that they had to do the Agent Spider thing, but I mean, look, at least I gotta admit, with the multiverse thing, there is a cover there. It's like the whole Garfield thing in Rick and Morty. Like it's wiggle room. It's like, okay, we can do basically full on Garfield, but we have to add like something so legally it's not Garfield. So here it's like Agent Spider. It's a really cool design, honestly, the whole Agent Spider thing. It's as close as you get to being Spider-Man without being Spider-Man. How do we prove this? Josh Keaton and Prof Ock.
Oh God, Prof Ock. Oh God.
Anyway, so that's great. It's the oh my God moment is Josh Keaton. He actually calls out the Spider-Verse thing, like, oh yeah, I've been dealing with multiverse a lot lately. It's really cute. Then, of course, the oh my God, it's Batman moment. And a lot of people were hoping it was going to be Superman, but I think sticking with Batman was the right call. Because, I mean, I don't know, it just feels right. Plus, we have already a lot of Superman parallels going on. Plus, I think, to get more comedy from Bat versus Super. Anyway, also the Mad Max. I'm sure you like the Mad Max nod.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Also, people went crazy for the Fortnite. There's a Fortnite reference in there where he basically is hitting.
Okay, I'm not. I did not go crazy. I did not love I fucking hate Fortnite Dragon.
Well,
I'm very anti-Fortnite.
I just meant
cancer of the video game industry.
I'm just saying the thing with Fortnite the one thing about Fortnite I do understand, at least is that they're somehow in Fortnite you're able to actually have like almost every any like pop cultural character in there by someone builds like a model of the Fortnite character, they somehow work them in there. That's how we have like all these characters like Deadpool's in Fortnite or
Peter Griffin is in Fortnite.
Exactly. That's how you get all these like the fact that they can do that. So I guess by that logic, Invincible's probably in Fortnite now.
Probably. I mean, isn't Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, no, that one's legit though.
Yeah.
That's an actual. However,
Mortal Kombat's had some really cool cameos over the years. I remember they did a Mega Man that was based on the original box art. That was really cool. Anyways,
and the cool thing is they have both Homelander and Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat. As long as Peacemaker.
That's crazy.
However,
there's a crossover we need to see, dude.
However, sadly, Anthony Starr, I don't know why they didn't. Everyone's pestered him endlessly. Hey, why aren't you in it? Why aren't you in it? I don't think he had a good reason. He's not. Anthony Starr did not return to do the voice of Homelander in that game, which baffles me. Why?
I mean, it might just be a continuity thing where is it not in the same continuity as the Boys TV show? It might just be that reason.
Well, no, he looks like Anthony Starr, so it's that show. It's not just like comic book Homelander. It's like, no, that's the
right
Homelander from the show.
Because with Omni-Man, you have the workaround where wasn't the character literally designed after J.K. Simmons?
That I don't know, honestly.
Okay. For some reason, I thought that was the case, but
I don't think that's the case.
Totally just be.
I don't know if you're thinking of the whole Sam Jackson thing or not.
I am thinking of this. That is exactly what I'm thinking of.
That one was legit. They actually made that. That was the whole plan. Like, if in a movie, we'll get Sam Jackson to play him. So it was like
right. Yeah.
So anyway, Point being, the point being is like the Fortnite thing. I had no idea what that thing was, and everyone I'm learning on the internet, like, okay, it's a Fortnite gun. Oh, okay, yeah, it's kind of cute, I guess. I don't know.
It's like the thing is, I can't really wrap my head around Minecraft either. But Minecraft, I at least like, there's an element of creativity involved with Minecraft stuff, right? Like, I've seen people do stuff with Minecraft that impresses me. Fortnite is just a black hole of culture.
Okay.
I'm sorry to any Fortnite fans.
Well, we know Korg likes Fortnite.
Who does?
Korg.
Oh my god! Oh, Jesus Christ!
Okay, let's see. So, meanwhile, while this is going on, so Debbie again, Sandra. Oh my God, Sandra. More like forget Sandra. It's more Sandra. Oh my God, she's amazing.
Oh,
Sandra. Oh.
Oh my God.
So just her calling out, initially he's like throwing, just like, oh yeah, you joined the family in so many of the multiverses, and she just like, she ain't taking it anymore. She's dealt with this the whole first half of the season. She's had an arc this season. She's moved past it. She's on her own terms.
I mean, Debbie is low key my favorite character in this whole damn show. I mean, like she really is fantastic. And we made the observation last season where like the most like how often in a superhero show is by far the most compelling plot line the fucking marital drama between the main character's parents. Like, how often does that happen, Dragon?
It's very rare, and Tiki Sandro never. She always delivers, man. Never does she drop the ball. That woman.
Well, that begs the question, Dragon. Are you going to join us for the Sideways 20th anniversary podcast?
Well, maybe.
That was one of her breakout roles. One of her breakout roles.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Okay, the point being, here though, again, just her, she's had it, she stands up for herself, and she has his number. She calls out, she's refusing to be blamed for Nolan any longer. It's a strong mother in a terrifying situation. She's fighting to save Oliver, and it's just, she just calls out, you're just jealous because you're the villain. This is the one of the few to only multiverses where he turns out good and you're bad. And that just sends him off the team. But again, Sterling K. Brown's breakdown.
I also love how Mark suggesting that he was trying to save him really sent him over the edge. Honestly, that's like a realistic thing to send someone over the edge, is something where it's like you're trying to help the person, but you just say the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, I love it too, where again, it was like a genuinely good thing that I still love that idea this season. Angstrom Levy, I will not build my utopia on blood, and he saves him, at personal cost to himself, and because of the brain thing, like he doesn't know that he's the good guy. I love that so much.
Are we the baddies?
Yeah. Regardless, just him going Sterling K. Brown does a wonderful mental breakdown on this, because again that it leads to the ethical thing in his mind, where then he's flashing back to all that. That's where we have the montage. So again, all that is triggered there, and then Debbie basically compounding, what he's already thinking and realizing and knows to be true somewhere in that big, long hair of brain.
Long hair of brain. That's a great description.
So I was looking for what the hairstyle was, mullet, that brain mullet. The lion's mane, the mane of brain. There you go. The mane of brain. He's got the brain mane going on, too. Look at that brain mane. It's like, oh, I love your hair. That's not my hair. Ooh.
If your friends take the brain drain.
Oh, God. Shoving.
You're free to go. All right.
Angstrom Levy just runs over. He just portals the dinosaurs to the smart guy. So that's okay, the deleted scene.
Now, John Goodman Rex. That would be an Invincible crossover I'd want to see.
No, I'm saying that. Imagine he's in that universe with the talking. So you're just off to the side. he's playing golf, and he's
Oh my God.
giving a little bird some life lessons. That's what's going on there. He's basically telling him this long, elaborate story is going to last about 90 minutes.
Not 90, Dragon. Come on, 75, and you're in and out.
You're right. You're
movie.
right. 75 minutes. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and there was a guy with a screw eye. He creeped everyone out. There's a whole thing. Lisa Simpson, I think.
Lisa Simpson was being like oddly flirty.
Yeah.
Anyways, God.
Kid didn't even play the sax, but yeah.
Oh
Anyway. So, so of course we have this horrific. So again, Debbie's been through it here. She's in a terrifying situation. Like, you feel every impact of her being thrown out. Like Oliver. Here's the thing that always terrifies me: Oliver is thrown like a foreign object. He's grabbing his arm, he's grabbing his leg, and for a moment it feels like we don't see what happens, but we learn that he doesn't have a scratch on. Mind you, he's part Viltrumite, so I don't know.
Yeah, I figured he wouldn't. That's why I figured that Debbie was a goner. Honestly,
no, true. What
I thought was going to happen is I thought that he was going to try and kill Oliver, fail, and then like, okay, next best thing.
That's what I'm getting at. Is we still don't fully know because we cut away from him. We know like he would not have a scratch on him, but I do wonder though. It gives you like the sick feeling in the pit of your stomach. Oh God, is he gonna like beat her with her own child?
I know, right?
That's the thing. That's the way he's holding him by the leg later on. It's like it's kind of what the implication is. Like, I will again. Oh, the way Sterling K. Brown says "hurt" is so unsettling.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm talking about when it comes to like next fucking level voice acting, dude. Like here, seriously.
Okay, in terms of haunting deliveries of the word "hurt," okay, top of the list you have Rocket Raccoon, but right under.
Well, yeah, naturally.
So you can't top that, but it's like still you have Rocket, and right under it you got Sterling K. Brown.
Okay, what about like entirely different context too?
Oh, of course, yeah. Just the whole thing of like, I will hurt you, I will hurt your son, and I will hurt this child.
You know what that really reminded me of, Dragon?
What?
I will kill your wife.
Oh, yeah.
I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter. Yeah, that really gave me some Gus Fring vibes. Really strong.
And the whole bit too, I love that. He's just like, again, just the torture Mark Grayson, because he's saying like, look, let him go, kill me, all right? Just let him go, you can kill me. And Debbie's like, oh no, Mark, and this thing of like, actually he pulls out the knife, he throws it at her, and it just him charging at it, grabbing it the last second and charging into a portal. Like that's and to me the sickest thing is like, the portal opens and Invincible almost collides into Debbie. Imagine how hard, like, if this were the boys.
If it was the boys, yes, that would very much happen.
He would have actually, like, that's how Debbie would have died.
Yes, oh God.
If this were the boys. I have nothing against the boys, but these are two very different shows.
When is the boys coming out, by the way?
Well, it's this year. I think it's like August or July.
Okay, Amazon and their dark superhero shows really have a bad habit of being ambiguous with the release dates.
No, I mean I think they set a date. I just don't remember it offhand.
I still haven't forgiven that teaser trailer for Invincible season 2, where the whole point of the teaser trailer is like, hey, give us a date at least, and they don't really give you a date.
Yep, they say like spring or something.
Just like a vague time period. Like I think they said like a late 2023 or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So anyway, so all this is happening, and then we have like the moment. Well, sorry, not that moment, but like another moment.
Say the line, Bart. Seriously, every review of this episode that I have seen has included that clip, Dragon. Every single one.
Wait, really? The Bart Simpson thing?
Yes. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay. Oh God, it's say the line, Bart. It's basically I don't want to explain the whole thing, Dragon.
Is it like the Bartman thing? Is that it?
No. It's the whole thing is that he goes on. God, it's a whole thing. I don't feel.
Okay, look, just don't worry about it. The point being, there is a popular Simpsons meme going around with this. Okay.
Yes.
Or no, I'm sorry.
The whole idea is that basically, Bart he has a catchphrase that gets really popular in Springfield. And at first everyone fucking loves it and everyone's treating him like a celebrity, hence the whole like say the line, Bart.
Okay,
But then it turns annoying and it's basically like the price of fame sort of story anyways. But yeah, say the line, Bart is very much like it's kind of like a general meme for like if something is really overexposed or like you're waiting for it to. I'm not explaining this well at all.
Okay.
Let's move on.
I'm sorry. Before we talk about the actual big moment, just one last thing. We got to talk about the arm break.
Oh my god! Yeah, how did we forget about that?
I was building to the arm break.
Low-key, that was kind of the moment where it's like, oh shit! Like, is she gonna be a goner?
It was so again like I'm not the villain, and just he breaks her wrist, and it's like, oh my god! And it's like again, that's that thing where that's the line between the boys and Invincible. Where Invincible is like all the violence and all the stuff that happens. It's grounded in the real world. This is what would happen, but it's not like in this dark, cynical thing. It's like even in our optimistic kind of view of the superheroes, there is aftermath and there is like real life damage that we do kind of like sugarcoat a lot of the time that we don't really see. And Invincible shows it to us. Like people are going to get hurt. And this is what it looks like.
That being said, I do want to address this before we get into the big moment because I do think it's a pretty major criticism. I think by far the thing about this season that I had a problem with, and maybe you can kind of like shed some light on it from the comics, but my God, this show, for as dark as it can get, it is fucking terrified to actually kill anyone off. Well, and frankly, that's starting to become a problem.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Okay, let me ask you this, Dragon.
Well, no. Do we want to save it for when we, after the moment, or do you want to talk about it now?
Well, I just want to ask you one thing, all right?
Right.
In the comics, is it like a running motif? Because kind of where I feel like they're trying to go with it is the whole idea that superheroes can't physically be killed, but there's still a lot of trauma attached to what they go through. Is that basically what they're trying to say here?
Essentially, yes. There's a thing.
That being said, Shrinking Ray, absolutely, they're fucking ridiculous that she's alive.
Wait, really?
Don't go that hard and then walk it back.
No. So I don't know. Shrinking Ray.
Like Duplicate, I can totally buy. I can totally buy the logic there.
Yeah,
Shrinking Ray is a different thing entirely.
Well, no. Here's the thing with Shrinking Ray. Okay, Shrinking Ray is here's the thing. Next season, if we see her again, I'm convinced, and my friends and everyone I talk to on the podcast, everyone agrees with me, is that okay? I think when there's gonna be lasting damage there, in which she's only gonna be like 3 feet tall or something. I think it's gonna be like she's gonna be like basically like a 3 foot tall, like kind of doll kind of looking thing. Like she's basically like all of her bones were broken. And it seems like because of that, she wasn't able to resize properly. Because every time we see her in that little chamber, she looks like short or like unnaturally small. But like not like tiny, but like like not it's like caught in between the two.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Like that's even more twisted than just.
I mean, they could definitely play around with that and definitely lean into the trauma of it, which I'm assuming they're gonna do.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's essentially what you said there. Again, it's all about like superheroes. It's the idea of I think it's kind of a combination of what you said and the fact that. In comics, we constantly bring back characters, and Kirkman's like, okay, we're gonna do that trope, but we're not gonna do it like without actually acknowledging what would go into something like that. For example,
what else kind of throws me off though is the fact that this series literally starts with just like a massacre of like a dozen characters that are dead.
However, Tiki, with that said, with one very notable exception that plays into what I just said, the Immortal.
Sure.
The Immortal, who is in his namesake, is a guy who should come back. And when we do that against the idea we've seen, and we called it out last episode, the Immortal, when he comes back, it's kind of like it's not full on. It's like when Rachel comes back from Lazarus, but he's momentarily insane. So it's kind of like it's a traumatic event coming back from actual death,
right?
And that guy has to live with that burden. So that's kind of like the crux of it. If we're gonna bring characters back. It's going to be like there is going to be like actual like PTSD and like trauma.
Like Rexplode is a perfect example, and I don't want to jump right into Rex, but He's a perfect example of like the PTSD trauma done
Yeah.
right in an arc.
And also, I have a theory about Rex, but I want to run by it. I wonder if you think I'm crazy. I just kind of had this rewatching the whole like half today. Do you think when he got shot in the head, do you think like it's like as a brain chemistry thing, like certain aspects of the personality and stuff being housed in the brain? Do you think like the chauvinist part of him got excised, or like some part of his brain
Um,
got excised in that? Or
I mean, I maybe not exactly that, but I definitely think it. I mean, that's obviously going to affect your brain chemistry. Like there's no
yeah,
way it wouldn't. So yeah, I think it has something to do with that.
yes. I mean, it's a thing. I wonder if perhaps it's like almost like a lobotomy of sorts in a way, like not an actual lobotomy, but like a part of like it's like negative aspects of the brain might have like been excised by the bullet.
Right. Yeah.
No, again, it's mind. It's not exact science, and it's again, but he has memory of it, so it's not like he's completely like lost what happened. But still, I don't know. That's just me reading into it. So I never thought of it until like because people can survive being shot point blank in the head. It's a rare thing, but it can happen.
Uh-huh.
So with that, it's like like okay, well, if a shot like that happened, I mean, if we're playing like realistic aftermath, well, anyway, sorry, getting back to things here. Okay, the point being, we have realistic consequence for things, and also Donald was a big exploration of the whole like coming back with trauma thing. That whole story.
Yeah, as well as Rick.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh. That was one of
Okay,
the best scenes in the season, I think, was that rooftop scene.
it was a really good scene.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see.
William didn't get a lot to do this season, but all the stuff he did have to do was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's see. So, we have the thing where Invincible finally comes back. He pulls a really clever move where he basically kind of fakes Angstrom out. He's like poking his head to the floor, like, wait, man, where is he supposed to charge in here? And then like, bam,
That was
he
a good
gets
move, yeah.
he gets him, and then he sees, oh boy, he sees poor Debbie. It's not just if you look, it's not just like the broken arm. It's the fact that she got the black eye. He's been doing stuff in the meantime to her.
Uh-huh.
He's been roughing her up, and that's when he snaps. And again, strongly, this is a really good tactical move on his part. Actually, again, it's a little tiny bit of Viltrumite in there. I don't know. I think it's mostly it feels more Man of Steel than it does Viltrumite, but it's like the whole "you do not attack my mother" kind of moment.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, it's the fact
Less
that
Man of Steel, more Batman v Superman, honestly.
well, no, I mean literally Man of Steel, like Superman, like his Zod's coming after his mom, and then he's
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I only, honestly, Dragon with most of the DCEU movies, I've only watched them the one time.
Well, that's fair enough. I'm saying, well, it feels like that. It occurs to me that Angstrom's power in this whole scene is the fact that the way his powers work, he can't like go through time and space. He can only geographically. It's this location in all these multiverses.
Sure.
So because of it, taking him out of the house does protect Debbie. Because again, the whole issue is that while he's in the house with Debbie, Mark is like helpless to all these portals. So he takes him out of the house finally, and that's when things get really exciting. Mark is ticked off, and then Angstrom reveals, when they met all these doctors in the multiverse, I'm preparing myself for this moment. They improved it, so now he can go toe to toe with them, and he's fighting him a little bit there. He says he's become stronger. Emphasis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then we have like a cool multiverse fight, and again, the whole he's been softening him up thing, and then we get to the big scene.
Oh yeah.
This I love. On the rewatch, the scene plays even better, Tiki. Because if you look at this scene, when he's laying into him, when he's
It's a mirror image of the Nolan thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Totally.
I love that. So it's Mark's worst fear coming true in so many ways, not just like in the aftermath, literally as it's happening, like with the way he's.
Oh my god!
You
know what would have cemented the Nolan thing?
If he said, "Think, Angstrom."
Yes, exactly.
Use your big gross brain to think, Angstrom.
Oh my god!
Seriously, instead of pointing to his head, he's like Mark is like he's moving the hands, like he's pointing all over. No, but seriously, this is a big, intense thing where he's threatening, I won't stop coming after your family, and then like that sets him off. You do not threaten my family. almost like
And
a
Steven Yeun,
colorblind.
I mean, I can't say enough good things about this voice. This performance is exactly why we need to treat voice acting as the serious art form that it actually is.
Mm-hmm. Then to quote colorblind Kyle from Super Academy, for my family.
Dude, that one line.
Yep.
Might be the single most memorable thing to come out of Super Academy for us.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I think so. well, that and Who's Gonna Help Me Be the Windmill?
I'm sorry, what?
That and Who's Gonna Help Me Be the Windmill?
Right.
Which I believe was also colorblind Kyle. So colorblind Kyle got all the good lines.
He stole the show. He kind of did.
Anyway,
although Who's Gonna Help Me Be the Windmill thing, it's kind of like a play on the whole, like, I was the Willow.
I was the Willow.
Which, by the way, Dragon, my local theater is doing Wind in the Willows for their season finale. And yeah, you bet your ass every time I see a fucking banner for it, I'm thinking of the Chaz Finster thing.
If only, it'd be even better.
What?
If we could just somehow compile, this would be ridiculous. If we somehow compile like a clip of like the whole, Chaz like, I was the Willow, and then we cut to I guess modern day Warwick Davis. It's like, no, I was the Willow.
Well, no, we already voiced this several times when the Willow show was coming out. Like that Warwick Davis should have like a very like dramatic kind of like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi kind of moment where he's just like world weary, just looking to the camera. I was the Willow. I'm not anymore, but I was the Willow.
No, we give him like a big Force Awakens like entrance, like Luke. He does say the line, "I was the Willow." Da-da-da-da-da.
And then meanwhile, Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer comes out and she's like, okay, guys, I'm actually the fan favorite Willow here. Come on.
Yep. Just the wonderful world of Willows. Willow World.
Oh god.
Okay. So in all seriousness, to get back to it again, so Mark he charges Angstrom, who again he has more durability, but Mark's really he plops him down there, and there's some blood spatter, and then he's not relenting in his punches because he's very upset. And we've set this up before that Mark's true Viltrumite, the DNA of his kind of his Viltrumite kind of potential really comes out when he is upset, kind of like Gohan logic from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and stuff.
Sure.
The idea that like that's where the potential lies, and the anger coming out, where basically. And as we set up at the end, the kind of mid-season finale, if Mark fights with a willingness to kill, I guess in this case more unconsciously, that's where he's unstoppable. That's where he truly becomes invincible. But yeah, so he's punching.
But that's what's so interesting about this moment is that you're right. It's obviously an unconscious thing, but it's like it's very much the intent is there.
And it is the fact that this character's whole defining nature of this character is that. It's the potential to become his father, which I think everyone always had, the potential of becoming our parents or the best or worst of our parents.
Sure.
And that's what Mark's been fighting this whole season from the get-go. I don't want to be him. And we even played the clip of it later where like Mark in the first season, naively, not knowing about his father, not naively, but he just says like optimistically, I want to be just like you, Dad.
I really like that edit.
So yeah, just it's him mirroring the exact finale stuff, and then just like realizing just the horror of his actions and the way we play with the voice acting and everything, just like every gasp and just like the almost retches, and I love that we cut away from seeing Angstrom's like probably lack of head.
Mm-hmm. And no, that's actually a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that leaves so much to the imagination that a visual wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, and we saw he was like railing into that guy. And Tiki, this is a huge
just moment. like what would the gore look like for a head like that?
Yep, and to my knowledge, the comic does follow this much like we do in the show, in that this is like the first time Invincible has actually like legitimately killed someone, not counting like an ambiguous alien giant kaiju alien monster, not counting that. Like he's actually, and even then we saw that Invincible, like he's like severely wounded these kaijus. He didn't necessarily kill them, so it's still kind of a So yeah, this is the first time he's actually killed someone. And I've always, from the comic and this particularly, mind you, I knew he gets into it with Angstrom. I knew Angstrom took her hostage, and I knew there was like a bloody thing. And let's just say I forgot the specifics of like how big a moment this was until like it all flooded back to me during this moment. That Mark has killed someone.
It's like a tide shift.
Yeah, it's a huge tide shift. Again, this is basically like something we hyped up in in the Daredevil series, where will Matt Murdock actually kill the Kingpin? Will he finally kind of cross line? And the thing is, Daredevil in the comics, I want to say, I know the Ben Affleck movie actually had him kill someone, so that was always the question of like, could Daredevil actually go that far? And there was tension there. And here it's like, oh God, he's crossed the line, and we're gonna keep going with this character. He's not gonna like. Usually, if someone does that, like Batman completely retires from it if he does kill someone. Like Invincible not going to do that. He's going to have to live
Zack
with
Snyder and just not give a shit.
Well, that's not. I watched that clip, by the way.
Did you?
I did, and it still pisses me every time he talks about that one stupid panel. I just want to punch him. Oh my God. Okay, because it always makes the stupid argument, and it's like
his schedule. It's like his fucking get out of jail free card for shitty Batman takes.
Literally, the animated movie changed that panel because again, it conflicts with everything else that's in that story.
Right.
It's the whole point. Again, he paralyzes the Joker. He does not kill the Joker. The Joker. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't Batman just snap? You see what I mean? Why does Snyder not have follow-up logic? That's what I want to know.
Anyway, what's funny is that I still, in spite of as stupid as what he's spouting nowadays is, I still don't even think it's as ridiculous as the whole Batman should be raped in prison thing. Like, I legitimately have no idea what he was thinking.
That's just pure insanity, though.
That's like fucking Frank Miller cuckoo bananas craziness.
That's him being possessed by the hat that's been possessed by the symbiote.
Oh God.
It's a symbiote of 80s New York.
Right.
Just the sludge of 80s New York on a hat. Okay, anyway. So again, but seriously, factoring in everything here that, okay, it's not just like the fact that Mark's killed someone, it's the fact that Mark lost control and he has become his father. So that's the thing that really hits home in this scene. It's like, again, not just death, but just the fact that he's made a point of saying, even to Anissa last episode, so that's one of the when he brought this up to Anissa last episode, I realized, like, okay, he's probably going to end up killing Angstrom. So if that was when I started to put the pieces back together from what I read. Like, yeah, we're really teeing that up, and this is like a big point. That's going to be really interesting. So he did it, and then you realize, God, he's terrified. He's just become his father, and now also he is stranded in this multiverse. He has no way out. He killed the guy.
All right, now with that in mind, Dragon. First of all, I'll before I give you my opinion on it, I'll just ask you: was the whole like future Guardians coming to save Mark? Was that in the book?
Yes, I just forget if the how much the time travel specifically was used. They used a portal. They showed up and they gave him a portal home. I forget if they said it's because they confiscated a time machine, but here's the thing. I can't remember in the comic if the one difference is that when he comes back, a lot more time has passed. That might be like the only difference.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong because I know there's one issue in Invincible where he comes back after a trip or this moment, and so much time has passed. Not like eons, not like he's not in the future, but like months have passed, and kind of like we did with the space thing. So I don't know if they repurposed the whole thing. He goes into space and he comes back 2 months later. Where here it's like he may have been in this multiverse for like 2 months and he comes back. Something like that happened.
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know how else you would have done it, but it was definitely the weak part of the episode for me.
Okay, I'm gonna take a wild guess here. The whole Eve's wait. Do you mean?
No, I honestly don't mind that, Dragon. I honestly, it's not. I don't really mind that.
You don't like how you don't like how he gets back.
It's a Deus Ex Machina. It's classic Deus Ex Machina.
Well,
and if it isn't
literally out of option, how else is he going to get back though?
No, I understand that. I totally understand that, and it's kind of like a catch-22, damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, still, I mean, time does play into it either way. So, like, at least someone has gone through a lot to get them there. So, like, years have gone by for these Guardians that show up, and we acknowledge a world where they're Mark Grayson, like he basically got into a fight at Angstrom and went to the future. Like that still happened. So I don't know. I still feel like it's not. I don't think it's just like a Deus Ex Machina. I think it is, and we have like the chilling little hint that, oh yeah, you would have survived, but you wouldn't have liked what you become. So it's like just being confronted that you doing this, it's gonna have an impact.
Sure.
There's an instability there.
That being said, the Eve thing, I'm okay with it. I'm not thrilled about it.
I think.
I think my issue with the Eve thing is that I kind of feel like at this point they're sort of speed running it now that Amber's out of the picture. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes and no. Okay. It's I don't mind like future Eve because we've even seen every time Mark and Eve are in a scene together, these two kids have chemistry. They like each other.
It's obvious that they're endgame, but my thing is that, like I said, Amber literally like she just left.
Yeah.
So give Mark a little bit of breathing room before you're literally like, I've always loved you, Mark. You know?
Yeah, but I love that she didn't like say like, hey, you tell her that you love her. She said like, tell her you love her or you don't, or just something.
Okay? Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like that's what I think buys it back though. And the fact that at the end of things, I'm sure this is the voice of the people, that he doesn't tell her anything. That's the thing that's more so like I think like are we drawing it out or are we like giving it a proper amount of time where it feels like with the relationships with Mark here again we've taken two left turns and oddly at the end of both seasons we do a similar but kind of like an opposite left turn. We're keeping Amber around and we're hoping to redeem her, which we did ultimately. But again, in the moment of the first season, it was just very much felt like, and she somehow has like bought it back, which is not felt unearned. But then over time, it's like, okay, well, I like where
Amber. Honestly, it's I kind of feel like with this season, it was almost like too much of a course correction, where I feel like she was almost like too like. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
honestly, like all the tension kind of came out of their relationship. She was just too accommodating, I guess.
Right. Well, regardless, what I'm getting at is that we took a left turn with like, okay, we're gonna keep the relationship in play for better or for worse. And then here, it's like, okay, we're not going to rush into the Eve thing like ordinarily in the comics. Like we got rid of Amber and then Eve moved in. So that's kind of the interesting kind of like kind of reversal of kind of the love life that we're doing there. So I don't know if we're gonna that could hurt him, that could help him, but we'll see. All I do know, and this is really refreshing to me, is that, and every time at the end of every episode, when you're binging or you're streaming Invincible, when you get to the like most recent episode, it links you up to like, and here's the Adam Eve special.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what? Every time I see that, I get happy because I'm like, you know what, man, that was a really good special, and people really like Adam Eve because of that special. So
and honestly, people like me, like I kind of was like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually, but then that really kind of kicked me into high gear to watch it. So
that's the thing. So it's like, hey, it's like people are loving Adam Eve, and I think that they absolutely should love Adam Eve. So that's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Right. So we got to talk about Cecil was really good in the aftermath. We got to show about that real quick.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how Cecil has become almost like a father figure to Mark at this point. Like, and it's definitely an interesting kind of like dichotomy where it's like he's both the father figure and then also like a pretty substantial obstacle.
Well, again, fast by the end of the season, now that we have all the episodes for this season, it does. There is the acorns of a schism and tension between Cecil, where we've armed Cecil with things to take down the Viltrumites, to impede them. He doesn't have them all, as with Anissa showing up. We don't have them yet, but he has compiled them. And seeing Anissa there, he is definitely going to need to get them ready, but it's going to be a question of going forward. Will he be prepared to use them against Mark? Because he won't let what happened with Nolan happen again.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know where we're going in the comics, but I could totally see that being obviously we're playing around with the idea that Mark it is very possible that he could go down a wrong path. Like the Engstrom Levy stuff definitely showed that off.
I mean, here's the thing, Tiki, okay? We've done a really ingenious thing with Cecil here I'm really impressed by so far. I mean, we'll see how season 3 goes with this, but and either way, it's going to be a win. Even if they just follow the comics to a T, it'll still be pretty good. But let's just say we've kind of gone the Better Call Saul route here with the Cecil, like the Cecil Mark thing, where I don't want to see things, sour between these two, but it's a very distinct possibility, especially with everything we've set up with this is where Mark, could potentially go. And Cecil has been made privy to this, and he sees the dread in Mark. Like Mark, and in this scene they have together, like Cecil's the one telling you're not him, you're not your father, which is really reassuring and really nice of him.
Yeah, but at the same time, Dragon, I mean, Cecil, like, this whole season, he has definitely softened a little bit from season 1, but at the same time, him being deceptive, that was like a big part of the whole thing with Donald.
Yeah.
So it's like, I genuinely do not think he believes what he is saying.
That's the thing. And we've called out like Bulletproof, like when he did like the layout of the team. He said this guy will sell us all out for white America on the drop of a dime. So it's the fact that there is that. I believe Cecil does like this kid. And he does trust this kid. And he's going to have his.
I believe that, but I also believe that he's very much in the back of his head thinking, of plan A, B, C, and D.
This is gonna be a weird analogy, but it feels like Cecil likes Mark. And he does trust him, but he will absolutely push the doomsday button to launch the bombs that drop upon his head. However, there might be a half second of hesitation before he pushes that button. He will push that button, though.
Yeah, definitely.
There will be like a half second of like, don't make me do this, but he will absolutely do it. Where it's like he'll give him like maybe like half a chance, and anyway. But still, they had I love the way Walton Goggins says, like there are good people and bad people, and the bad guys usually break people's arms.
That was a really good line, yeah.
Yeah. And again, just like Mark saying you weren't there, just the fact, because if you were there, you would have seen it went down like the reversal of season 1. That's essentially, that's what's haunting Mark right now, and that's the seed that might give Cecil some ideas.
All
right, let's see. So, I guess I'm sorry. 2 things. Were you intrigued as I was by the fact that with the future Guardians of the Globe, we had Rex in the robot suit?
Yeah, that was definitely an intriguing tease.
And it wasn't Rudy. She said Rex. She didn't say Rudy.
So
that's interesting. I don't quite know what to make of that, but that is interesting.
My best guess is that it probably has something to do with like the recovery that he's going through. Like maybe there is some long-term damage to being shot in the head that has not manifested itself yet. That's my best guess.
I have a theory as to what's happening there, but it might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to share it. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not saying they actually spell it out in the comics, but I'm connecting 2 dots from 2 scenes from Invincible that are in the mind. Right? Anyway, I don't want to bore you with that.
Yeah.
Lastly, the thing we should talk about is we sidestepped it completely, and we're just going to save it for the end because it's basically end of the season now. The whole Alan and Nolan thing in space.
Yes. Okay, so first of all, Dragon, I don't know. I think I was pretty lukewarm on Alan in season 1, and I think season 2 he really improved significantly.
Well, Alan only had 2 scenes in season 1. So.
Right. And I guess for me, people are hyping him up, and I was like, I don't really understand what you're hyping. It's Seth Rogen doing Seth Rogen. I don't really understand what you're hyping up about. The thing is, it's like season 2, obviously, he has a lot more to do. He's a lot more pivotal. So yeah, I see why people were hyped up for the character now, seeing where he's gone. Nolan's arc in the season is, I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I like where he ends up for sure. I'm a little tiny bit mixed on, and again, I don't like this is just the logical place to end his arc for the season, right? You don't want to move his storyline too much, so it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But I kind of feel like we dragged our feet just a little bit with oh, Nolan's definitely going to be executed. The Viltrumites are definitely going to execute him. And we know he's not going to get executed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like we cut back to him maybe one or two too many times when he was, like, in prison. Like,
Well, we didn't. Well, we
ready
didn't
to
cut.
be executed. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Am I making sense at all?
Kind of.
Okay.
You're making sense. I think what might be factoring in there too is that we kind of spent a little time with Nolan with the books, where he wasn't. We were thinking about like what's the deal with Nolan, but we did set up the whole thing of like a Viltrumite has to be at full strength. So I think the opening of we only need to reestablish it once. Like we could have just used the scene where he's being beaten up, says like you're in good shape to be executed, but bruises are fine. Like if we just had that scene and not the opening, we probably I think I'll go as far as to say that with you. Then we didn't. I honestly I think the episode. Well, I don't want to come down on the finale because I think it's great. But let's just say the one scene, if you really want to look at it in hindsight, is like, yeah, it would have been probably better if we just opened with the jogger instead of opening with like Nolan like beating robots and guards and stuff.
Yeah, I really didn't feel like we needed that. I
Yeah.
really didn't feel like, it didn't feel necessary, especially to open the episode on.
I'm just saying for later on, Krieg's just going to have that really cool moment where it's like, I'm going to beat you up, but you're in good enough shape to be executed now. Like that, I think would have been enough.
Right.
Regardless, so honestly, in the comic, it's kind of a thing in hindsight where I was so invested in the Mark stuff where when we cut to this whole Alan and Nolan in the space prison thing, I kind of checked out a little bit, but in context here, and I don't know if this is like them trimming it down because the ideas in the comic we cut back to it a lot, whereas like I want to be on Earth a little bit more, but here like. It seems like we've trimmed it and sparsed it out to a place where I can really get into it a little bit more than I could the comic. That's just my recollection of the comic, though. So I really like that, and the whole big part of it here being Nolan has at least had one fight with Alan before, and that's why he says, "Oh, son, you can take care of this guy." But he doesn't really know his name or anything. He just looked down on him all this time, and I was, "Oh, come on, man, don't be that way."
Right.
And basically, and Alan he loops him in, and he basically, Nolan he gives Nolan kind of unconventional pep talk of sorts. And Nolan's in this place where like he's ready to die, and he's come to a place like thinking he's going to die. He's come to a place of like actually self-reflecting on life and actually getting to the place that Mark was complaining about. He didn't even say he was sorry. He gets it now. It's like I'm sorry. I did these bad things. I shouldn't have done them, and I think I miss my wife.
Which is, I mean, honestly, Dragon, I kind of feel like people are underplaying how big of a cliffhanger that actually is.
See, here's what's great about
I've heard some people say that, like, the first half of the episode is really explosive, but then it kind of peters out. I really don't agree, because I think that note is a really chilly note to end on. Because here's the thing with Nolan, Dragon. Like, I feel like we as an audience, we both do want to see that reformation happen, right? Like we do. Obviously, we like J.K. Simmons. Obviously, This is a very compelling guy. But by the same token, we want this dude to stay as far the fuck away from Debbie as humanly possible.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I love the contradiction in that. I don't know. I think it's obviously a more subtle cliffhanger than season one, but I think it's just as effective. It really gets your mind racing with where we could go.
Also, the fact that he has two wives, technically.
That's true. Well, I think at this point the second one is probably dead. But
we know that. No, you're right. That's why it's pretty clear he's talking about Debbie.
Yeah. What if he was talking about the other one? Like, my God, I think I need to get back to her and spend the last like fucking 2 days of her life with her.
She sounded like Kim Wexler.
Oh my God. Oh God.
And I like that. No. Here's the. What's really impressive that no one's really talking about with that. Okay, so the idea is like that was a big moment where I guess he and Alan were on the same page, and like the moment in the comic, it was like a big moment where Nolan like looked up and like artistry wise, like art wise for the book, it was like that's and we mirrored that shot and everything here, but what we did to kind of plus and really embody what was on the page in an interesting way with the medium was the way J.K. Simmons delivered that line really sold what that art was all about, like the way what he had in his voice when he said that, like this the self discovery.
Sure.
So that was great. Okay. Let's see. What was anyway? Point being, yeah, it's a big moment. Another thing to hit on too, just because again we've had like a big moment with Nolan, just kind of like him kind of being inspired to like like do something with his life for good, basically, and fighting the Viltrum Empire. It would seem. I just love that Eve's last line to Mark is the whole "you don't deserve this, Mark." Because again, this kid's been through so much, and it's kind of right. Like, he didn't deserve any of this to happen. Like, Mark hasn't done anything wrong, and he's it's like that's the one thing he does need to hear. That he didn't deserve. He didn't deserve to be put in this position. He doesn't deserve the feel of guilt that he killed this guy, like to save his family and to survive. So that's it was. We have like two really good kind of like emotional kind of like resolutions to this season that are kind of getting us to the next season. So that's solid.
All right.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, I think that about does it. I think we we already mentioned Kate's alive, so I don't think we need to really belabor that, right? I think we're good.
Yeah. I feel like that's fine. And again, I don't mind that as much as the Shrinking Ray stuff, though. Okay, I will say that the thing that you laid out about Shrinking Ray and potentially like the implications there, that is chilling. And if they do go that route next season, I am all for it.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure they are. And you know what? I just want to highlight this too before we go. With the immortal Ross Marquardt, who does tremendous job because he voices a lot of characters on this show. By the way, he's of course Ross Marquardt, one from Walking Dead, Red Skull for the folks that they're also James Cameron, that podcast we liked.
I kind of like him. He's almost kind of like in that Eric Bauza territory.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? He's very much like a contemporary in that regard.
I think the man's a really good sound-alike impressionist and stuff like that. But he, I love the emotional, like when this guy's destroyed by the loss of Kate and her being alive, and just the way he rushes for a hug and he says like, "It's okay, everything's perfect, everything's fine." I'm butchering the line, but essentially him just saying like it's like he's not upset with her at all. He's just so delighted that she's alive.
Right.
Okay, anyway, so that does it here. So
all right.
That's the end of season 2, kids.
Yeah, can't wait to see more. Hopefully it'll be a less long wait, but then again, given the Spider-Verse situation, they can take as long as they need.
Yep, we got more seasons coming. That's all we need to know, and I don't think anyone's going to turn Kirkman down here. I think we're in good shape here. At least I think they've approved it up to. I know they approved it up to season 3. If season 3 goes the way I'm pretty sure it's going to go, which essentially, let's just say, involves Doomsday with a mustache, we got a. I'm not joking, okay? If they in episode 7, we suggested that. Believe me, Anissa warned like someone's going to be coming if you don't fall in line and you don't want them to show up. That character, we've seen them very briefly in a cameo in season 1. If that character shows up, that's essentially Doomsday with a mustache, and you better run the other way.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. See y'all later.
Bye. I thought
Think, Agstrom!